right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. My name is Heather Deere, and I'm the Director of Family Engagement here at William and Mary. Welcome to the last Tribe Transition webinar that we have scheduled in our series. That means we are really close to the big day, move in, and your family orientation. Today, we're going to be talking all things family orientation. Before I dive in, just one housekeeping update. Our undergraduate student intern loved that I shouted out to the William and Mary Families Instagram last week during the webinar, so promised I would do it again. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, please do. We're putting out some really great move-in prep content and just a great resource to follow throughout the year. We do highlight William and Mary resources regularly, student events that are happening that may be of interest that you can share with your student, and it's a great way to stay connected now as we get ready for the big day and throughout the entire academic year as we keep you up to date on all of the wonderful things happening at William and Mary. So like I mentioned, today we are talking all things family orientation. Just like all of our webinars, we will have time for Q&A at the end, probably plenty of time on this one. It's a unique one in that I don't have any special external guests, but I do have a special guest on the webinar today. We have our Assistant Director of Family Engagement, Taylor Slaven. Taylor.
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Taylor. It's great to be here with you guys in person. You've probably emailed me this summer, or maybe we've chatted on office hours, but I can't wait to say welcome to campus in person in just about a week.
All right, Taylor, before we get started, I am just going to cover something up top, which is families. We haven't ever done a family orientation Know Before You Go webinar before, and we're doing it for a really intentional reason. Because you might not be ready to take in this content right now, but maybe next Thursday night around 8 p.m., when you're tucked into your hotel room here in Williamsburg, that's when you're probably going to start thinking about, oh, we have our own orientation tomorrow. Where do we need to be? Where do we park? What are we supposed to do tomorrow? So we're going to get ahead of a little bit of that. So my one pro tip up top is, it's very normal to not be thinking about family orientation. You have your students move in that you need to get through in their own see you later and making sure that they're settled. But to really set you up for success for family orientation, I recommend that you at least download the schedule and make your plan for Friday before you arrive in Williamsburg. It's a tough ask, but I would ask that maybe you spend 5 to 10 minutes making that plan for Friday. But we're going to dive into all of those logistics that you might need to know. Of course, this session is being recorded. You can revisit it at any time whenever you're ready to start thinking about family orientation. So if you're joining us and you're not registered, or you're registered and you're wondering, you're waffling, do we go, do we not go? I want to talk about why we think that family orientation is important to your experience. Your students are having their own orientation experience to get them acclimated to William and Mary and their transition to the university. And this is a big transition for you as families as well. Most of your transition so far has been focused on getting your student ready, and family orientation is all about getting you ready for this next chapter of your student's experience. When you're at family orientation, you're going to learn how William and Mary supports you and your student through the lens of your engagement as a family member. We want you to gain confidence in your student's transition to William and Mary, even the simple act of knowing names and seeing faces and hearing the message that we care deeply about your student, and we're here to support them every step of the way. You'll have a wonderful opportunity to meet other families. There is so much networking and interacting built in, so you can start to build your own peer network and interact with so many staff members from every corner of campus who are really thrilled and can't wait to meet you. Ultimately, we hope that you feel welcomed to the larger community. You are part of our William and Mary family, and you will hear that time and time again at move-in day and at orientation. And family orientation is a wonderful opportunity to just feel that feeling that you belong, your student belongs, and you made a great choice in choosing William and Mary. And I can say all day that family orientation is beneficial to your experience, but I do want to share some feedback that we've gotten from families over the year about family orientation. Now, of course, we hear that they really enjoyed the speakers, that the content was very informative, that they picked up nuggets that they could take back and share with their student later, which ultimately is one of our big goals. We want to make sure that when you're attending family orientation, you're learning about all of the things that your student can take advantage of and that you want to put in your toolkit and your toolbox and can pull out later. And so the other piece of that puzzle, though, is time and time again, I hear families say, walking away from family orientation, they felt much more comfortable with leaving their student in Williamsburg, that they had that emotional threshold that they crossed over. They felt like they had checked the box, we have done the thing, and we know that William and Mary is there to support our student. We can say that all of the content is very informative, but we hear from families over and over again that family orientation is what solidified that their student had moved in, done the thing, and they really got to see the essence of our community on display in a different way during family orientation. I encourage all of you, I had mentioned our social media earlier. We posted on Facebook a few weeks ago, why attend family orientation? And we had so many wonderful families from previous years talk about what they gained from family orientation. So I encourage you to ask if you're in any of those social network groups, like a Facebook group, for example, or to look at our Facebook posts and ask the question, is should I attend family orientation? And I hope that you hear that it was a beneficial and valuable experience. All right, moving on. Before we dive really deep into family orientation, I want to talk about one of those other emotional thresholds that we need to cross, which is the see you later moment. And one of the moments that we get many, many questions about, especially this time of year. It's a hard one to think about, and I want to acknowledge that up top. Sometimes I have to be the bearer of bad news and say the thing that maybe you don't really want to hear, which is at some point you will have to say, see you later to your student so they can start engaging in their own orientation experience. So just to recap what we talked about during our move-in webinar just last week, your student will be invited to dinner with their OA, their hallmates, their RA, potentially around 5 p.m. on move-in day. So that Thursday, August 20th move-in day, your student will be invited to dinner. They may want to go to that dinner, but they may not know how to tell you that that's something that they want to do. So I encourage you now to go ahead and have an open conversation with them about what do they want move-in day to look like? Are they interested in attending that dinner with their OA, their new hallmates, or would they rather go to dinner with you? And just make a draft plan, I would like to say, for what dinner is going to look like that evening. I don't want anyone to be surprised. When an OA or an RA pops their head in the door or a group me notification goes off and your student all of a sudden is like, I told you that I didn't want to go to dinner, but now I like actually really, I'm here, I've moved in, I see people, all the neon t-shirts that our orientation aides wear, and now I'm going to feel FOMO if I don't go to dinner. So I say draft plan because just know that the plan may change. You may have a conversation now about that and they want to go to dinner with you, and they may change their mind and want to hop into that community dinner at 5 p.m. So I say don't be surprised if the answer changes at 4:30, and it can change in the opposite way. Maybe they're feeling really confident right now that they want to go to dinner with potential new hallmates and OAs, but on the day of, they're feeling a little bit more of those nerves and they just want that last meal with a family. And so get ready for maybe to make a last minute dinner plan with your student if they change their mind in the opposite way and they just want some more quality time with you. So just remember to be flexible with this moment. And you may even find that like you aren't waiting until 5 p.m., that you get your students settled in at 10 a.m. and they're ready and you're feeling ready and you're like, I would love to go explore Colonial Williamsburg if you feel all set. So just make sure that you have a conversation about that move-in day plan now. Just know that by 7 p.m., we do expect that you've said see you later to your student as their orientation activities will begin. And this will extend until the first day of classes. And so their orientation activities are going to be all day, mostly every day up until the first day of classes. And so when we say see you later by 7 p.m., what I mean is that you probably won't spend any meaningful time with your student beyond that time frame. It's really important that we're not pulling students out of orientation. This is where they build those really foundational community relationships. And so all of this information they're learning is informative for them, but also builds their community and their sense of belonging at William and Mary, which is why we stress this see you later moment by 7 p.m. Families always ask me, I'm going to be in town until Sunday. Can I take them to brunch on Sunday? Can we take them to lunch on Friday during family orientation? And I have the tough job of telling you no, because students are engaged in their own orientation activities at that time. Now, if there is an emergency of some kind, always communicate with your student who can communicate with their orientation aides, but those would be the exceptions to this general guidance that we have to offer. Now, I say you won't spend any meaningful time with your student, but I don't want anyone to be surprised if you see them from afar when you're participating in your own orientation activities. It's just that there won't be an opportunity for you to hug them, have a conversation, pull them out for lunch. Really, you might see them in passing. You may even be able to spot them in the distance in a sea of orientation aides wearing neon. But we say don't spend any plan to spend any meaningful time with them, which means some of that really quality time that I know you'll be craving after you say, see you later. All right, my next piece that I want to cover is the William and Mary mobile app. If you have not downloaded the William and Mary mobile app, please add that to your pre-move-in day checklist of things to do. The mobile app is going to have the full orientation schedule for both students and families. So make sure that your student has downloaded the mobile app as well and that they have logged in. Families, you do not have to log into the mobile app, and I'll cover that in just a moment. You'll see the full schedule, move-in details, water station locations, how to follow us on social media, how to get in contact with us. There is a new students and families persona that is built explicitly for move-in and orientation, and that is going to be your information hub when you're here on campus. If we were to have to make a change due to weather or something paused move-in, like there's lightning in the area, we'll send a push notification through the mobile app. We'll make any rain plan adjustments to the schedule in the mobile app schedule. So just be advised that your most up-to-date information will be available via the William and Mary mobile app. Now, we always get a ton of questions about the new student and family experience and how to get there. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for one moment because I'm actually going to show you on my phone how you get to the new student and families persona in the mobile app. So when you first download the mobile app, you're going to have the opportunity to select a persona on the screen. If it's your first time downloading, go ahead and select new student and family experience. It'll take you right there. If you already have the mobile app, something that you can do, I'm going to show you my screen now. So we see I'm in the families and visitors persona right now, and I need to get to the new student and family persona. There is a little person up here in the top corner, that little person icon. I'm going to click that little person icon and it's going to give me a few options. We see sign in, which I'm not. I'm an administrator and I'm not signed in. And then you see my experience, families and visitors. I'm going to click that my experience and it's going to take me back to the main screen where I can choose a persona. This is where you're going to choose that last persona listed there, new students and families. And then you are going to get to that fun hub of all of the orientation information. We've got move-in, orientation, weeks of welcome. We have all of the things that you'll need. So click into move-in and you can see the move-in dates, arriving on campus, the check-in process, your move-in routes, everything that you're going to need there for move-in, and the same for orientation. So that is our pro tip. Make sure that you have that app downloaded. I'm going to hop back into my presentation. And then also the mobile app is a great resource year round. As we get closer to family weekend, there will be a similar family weekend icon that pops up that you can see the family weekend schedule, family weekend parking. So it's good throughout your students' William and Mary experience, and it's just an awesome resource hub that you have directly there on your phone. All right, we are going to dive into the details of the schedule, but if you walk away from this webinar and you remember nothing, I want you to remember these three things about the family orientation schedule. You're going to start your morning at Kaplan Arena. So all of the morning sessions are going to take place in Kaplan Arena. You will have a hearty hour and a half, almost 2-hour lunch break on your own that you can go anywhere in Williamsburg, walkable or drivable for lunch. And then all of your afternoon sessions will take place in the School of Education. So, morning is in Kaplan Arena on Friday, lunch is on your own, and afternoon sessions on Friday are going to be at the School of Education. So, let's orient you to how this schedule works. First, I want to talk about parking up top. So, all of you are planning your move in day parking, and we like to make it easy for you on family orientation day. Plan to park at your move in day parking destination on Friday for family orientation. This is for a few very important reasons. There are many, many of you, and not that many parking spots at Kaplan Arena. So, if you arrive close to time and you go straight to Kaplan Arena, there will not be a parking spot available to you. This is why we ask everyone to park at their move-in day parking destination to allow plenty of opportunity for everyone to park in a parking spot. Just to reiterate, no parking on the grass, no parking on lawns, no parking in emergency lanes. So if you're arriving close to time and you show straight up to Kaplan, please do not park on the street and please do not park in the grass. Unfortunately, I do hear about that. So please plan to park in your move-in day parking destination. To make getting to Kaplan a little bit easier, we know that's a walk for some of you. Those parking lots are at a bit of a distance. We'll have shuttles available at those move-in day parking locations to take you to Kaplan Arena. So starting at 8 a.m., shuttles will run until 9:30 a.m. So just be mindful that you'll park at your parking destination, you'll hop on a shuttle, and you will come to Kaplan Arena. There will be like an A-frame sign that says shuttle stop. It will not say family orientation, but it will say shuttle stop at your parking destination, and that is where you will load onto one of our shuttles. Shuttles will run again in the afternoon. So, like I mentioned, we're going to be at Kaplan in the morning, so a shuttle can take you to Kaplan. Then we're going to be at the School of Education in the afternoon. Shuttles will run from 4 to 6 p.m. to take you back to your parking destination. So just keep that in mind that we'll have shuttles in the morning and shuttles in the afternoon. Of course, it's probably a 15-minute walk from any of your parking destinations. So if you want to build that in and get some steps in the morning, you're welcome to. Also, just be mindful that we have ADA spaces located immediately adjacent to both of the locations that we'll be at, and we have an abundance reserved for family orientation. And if you have any special requirements, Taylor has likely communicated that with you as part of your orientation registration. All right, Taylor, I'm going to pass it off to you so you can talk about the real schedule overview.
Yeah, let's go into the run of show a little bit here. So starting at Kaplan in the morning, the doors will open at 8 and the sessions won't start until 9. We know that commuter and off-campus check-in is happening across campus at this time, so we want to make sure that all of our families can get over to Kaplan, grab that coffee, grab that tea, whatever you need to start your day. And you're going to build a name tag, and these name tags have different ribbons on them, whether you're out of state, whether your student is first gen, whether you're an alum yourself, and it's going to be a fun little connection point between you and other families throughout the day. So the morning sessions are kind of going to be a general overview about some helpful resources across campus for your students and what their experience might look like. So top of show, Heather is going to lead a session on the overall university experience, some expectations that we have of your students, and what family support will look like during this transition and then throughout their 4 years. Next, we'll dive into the liberal arts education specific to William & Mary, and how academic planning can really set your student up for success. We'll go into health and wellness at William & Mary, and this will cover the counseling center, the student health center, wellness resources like the campus recreation center. And then lastly, we'll close out with President Rowe and our Senior Vice President of Student Affairs and Public Safety, Ginger Ambler, and that's always fun.
Yep. This morning sessions, these are really where we give you the foundational tools that you need in that specific moment. So I've been getting lots of questions about my student did an emergency evacuation plan. When do you use it and what does that mean? I'm going to talk about that during my session. I'm going to talk about when we communicate with you during an emergency. What is an emergency at William & Mary? I know you're all very concerned about finalizing course schedules, so we're going to talk about that specific
Yep.
timeline for finishing course schedules and academic advising during our academic planning session with the Advising Center. Our health and wellness session is going to be both for you and for your student. It's a fan favorite, I'll tell you. Over the years that I've been at William and Mary, I know that the morning show is not mine. It's actually health and wellness because we're going to talk about how you can really support your students' holistic well-being at William and Mary and how we take a whole university approach. And let me tell you, you will not want to miss the welcome from President Rowe, Ginger Ambler, the mayor. It is one of our really special orientation sessions.
And that is taking you until 12 p.m. At 12, we're going to break. We'll have a bit of a separate lunch period here. We're going to be setting up the School of Education, and you are going to hopefully be exploring Williamsburg, finding either some places within walking. There's several places within the campus area, and then close to the School of Ed if you don't want to stray too far. And then Williamsburg, you can probably get anywhere within 15 minutes. So if you scan that QR code, we also have a map of some driving places as well. If it's a nice day and you want to take a little stroll throughout Williamsburg, or if you want to go down to a quick little shopping trip before you head back to the School of Ed, that's totally possible too.
Yeah, there are some wonderful restaurants right up the hill from the School of Education. So if you want to
Yeah.
plan to like go to the School of Education, see, lay eyes on it, kind of like we're in an airport, and then walk up the hill to
Make
walk
sure it
up the
doesn't
hill.
move.
Yes. Walk up the hill to like Sal's is a wonderful Italian restaurant. Super Chicks is like fried chicken. We have a new halal restaurant right there. This area is called Midtown Row, right up the street from the School of Education. And so you could easily walk up the hill and walk back down. Cook's Burger Bar is great for burgers. So I encourage you to make a plan for that lunch, to scan that QR code or access it on our website. It is available on the orientation website. There are going to be some retail options close to campus. So Chick-fil-A, our campus Chick-fil-A will likely be open. And we can find a link to the opening hours for the fall semester and include that here so you know what all of the retail dining options will look like. Dining halls are not going to be an option just because we have to get all of your students through for lunch. So please do not plan to enter a dining hall during this lunch period, as we do have to get 2,000 students in, through, and out, and I think about like 90 minutes. So that is one of our explicit asks, is that you plan to eat at a retail location on campus, or that you plan to just take a quick trip and explore somewhere new in Williamsburg.
And once you've wrapped up with lunch, you will be finding us back at the School of Education, which we're holding the rest of your afternoon at. So from 1:30 to 5:30, we'll be hosting our Connections Fair in the Matoka Woods room of the School of Education. This is a great opportunity to ask those one-on-one questions. Maybe you just didn't have time to pick up the phone or send that email this summer, or there's something that's still lingering on your student's mind. This is a great opportunity to go around and ask those questions with our campus partners. We'll have over 40 departments represented, whether that's our on-campus departments and student affairs. We have some safety resources. Then we also have some Williamsburg resources as well. So kind of exploring both the on-campus experience and then the Williamsburg experience that your student will have. And then kind of sandwiching that in between, we'll have our information sessions from 2 to 4:45 p.m. This is going to be 4 blocks of 30-minute sessions. And just a pro tip before we dive into the list of information sessions, this is not something that's supposed to be stressful or like adding a to-do for you before you arrive to campus, but I do want to urge you to take a look at our list of sessions and kind of plan it out. There are some hot topics in there, and I know that rooms will fill up quickly, especially those that are only offered in maybe 2 of the blocks instead of all 4. So maybe you'll want to take a look at that information session list and pick out, okay, this is my type A that I want to go to in block 1, and then if that one's full, here's my B option that I can go to. And then, of course, if you're coming with a partner or another family member, you might want to split up, especially if one of the sessions is only offered once, but you also really want to take a look at that financial aid session. So a little bit of strategy, again, not meant to be stressful, but we just know that a little bit of extra preparation before you show up to family orientation will make the day run so much more smoother for you. And then again, diving into those information sessions, if you want to hear about it, we've probably got it. We do have 20 unique presentations, and several of those are repeated throughout the day. I know some of them are offered across all 4 blocks too. So we've got study abroad, we have clubs and community, fraternity and sorority life, residence life, financial aid, academic support. We've got some panels with some students and then some families from our parent and family council. So again, if you're curious about it and you just want to listen, maybe you don't have any questions right up front that you want to ask a campus partner at the Connections Fair, an information session is probably a great place to go, get some tidbits to share with your student, and just learn about the campus community in general.
Definitely. This is one of the places where many families ask, what is the difference between the admitted students day we may have
Yeah.
attended and these sessions that you have listed here? Day for admitted students was very geared toward your student and your student's potential experience that they could have at William and Mary. These sessions, and we've seen most of them over the years, are very oriented to you sitting in the room as a family member. How can you support your student with these resources available and the specificities of the here and now? So let's take study abroad, for example, which is always a popular topic. We're going to move from generally like what does study abroad look like at William and Mary to what are the deadlines that they need to be mindful of? How do they apply? What does financial aid look like for study abroad? Where could they study abroad? What is the timeline for my student? It's going to be much more specific and tangible. So if there is a topic that you have questions about, maybe it's the health center and you want to learn more about the pharmacy and how they use the health center and what services are available. This is where you get your answers to some of those questions in these 30-minute presentations.
And then again, just like Heather said, if you don't take anything away from this, this just goes in and out one ear. We do want you to remember morning sessions, you're starting your day at Kaplan, you'll have a lunch on your own, and then you'll be ending the day at the School of Education.
Yep. I know, like we mentioned up top, we're really focused on move-in and your students' experience. And so you, again, might be watching me in the future at around 8 p.m. when you're tucked into your hotel room. And that's okay. If you don't remember anything, just know that tomorrow, if you're listening to me then, just show up at Kaplan Arena in the morning
Yeah.
and we'll guide you the rest of the way. I know that there's a lot to keep in your minds right now. And so we want to make this as easy as possible. If you can't join us for family orientation or you're looking at that information session schedule and you're like, Heather, I want to go to all 20 are very important to me. Or you get to a room, which this will happen, and I want everyone to be prepared for this. You'll get to a room that you really wanted to be in and it's full, so you have to go to your backup option. Just know that all of our information session presenters have submitted a recording to us, and we will have that content available afterward. We do that because we want to make sure that you can experience those sessions that you really wanted to, but maybe didn't have time for or weren't able to get in the room because it met capacity. Taylor and I will send that to you about 1 week after family orientation so you can have some time to decompress and then take advantage of all of those on-demand video recordings. And so just keep in mind, make a plan A and a plan B for those information sessions. But if you don't get to one of them, we will send you the recording after orientation is over. It's a great opportunity to go to a session that maybe you didn't have on your radar at the beginning. That is our total schedule overview. I want to dive into just a couple of other things. If you need help during move-in or family orientation, just know that Heather and Taylor are it in family engagement. And we will be out and about on move-in day and family orientation. So if you call us, we won't be able to answer the phone. And our inbox, we probably won't be able to answer you until after we're done with move-in and orientation. So just keep in mind that if you send us an email next Wednesday, I'm going to do my best to get back to all of you if you send us an email on Wednesday. But if you send us an email on Thursday, or if you send us an email on Friday, or if you call us on Thursday or Friday, we won't be able to get to you, but we will be there in person. So I will be in the move-in line almost all day long. I am taking a lunch break, don't worry. So I'll be in the move-in line and you'll see me at the family information station, which is one of the stops during the move-in process. Taylor will be getting everything ready to go. So if you're in and around Sadler, you might pop by 368 and say hello to Taylor. She may be moving boxes, but you have just done the same thing. So it's a shared experience on
We're
move-in
in it
day.
together.
If you do need help on move-in day, I have a picture here of our orientation aids and they're neon yellow. It's a classic William and Mary experience. All of them are so excited to help you. So even if it's just any simple question, how do I get to XYZ? Where should we go for lunch? I don't know what I'm doing right now or where I'm supposed to be. Ask an orientation aide, and they're more than happy to help. They'll all be with us at family orientation on Friday as well, particularly in the School of Education. They're wonderful resources. Go ahead and find an orientation aide and ask that question. Taylor and I will be present, of course, in person at family orientation. So go ahead and pull us aside, ask us for help if you need it. And of course, use that mobile app in your schedule because it will give you the best information that we have. Finally, I just want to say we can't wait to welcome you. We're getting really excited. All of our goodies are arriving. We're packing boxes. We're getting everything staged and ready to go. I know you all have your corner of move-in items. We have our corner of move-in items, and we really can't wait to welcome you for family orientation. If you still have questions about move-in or orientation, we have plenty of time today to get to lots of questions, but please do join us for office hours next Tuesday, August 18th. It's our last office hour of the summer, but Lauren Garrett with Student Transition Engagement Programs will join us for that special office hour. We're calling it our move-in edition office hour. You can come and ask us any of those last minute questions that you have for us. Of course, send us an email at families@wm.edu. Give us a call. We'll do our best to get to you or respond to your voicemail if we're in and out and moving around. And we are so excited to see all of you next Thursday. So with that, I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and we can dive into some Q&A. So families, whatever questions you have, go ahead and submit those now. I know we've had a few already submitted, so I'm just going to pull up some of the answers to those questions while I give you all just a moment to let us know what questions you have. Okay.
I'm also seeing a question that says, where do we find our move-in day parking location after the unloading zone? This also applies to family orientation as well because we're going to want you to park in that lot again on Friday. I'm going to drop that in the chat here. Your student or you can navigate to this new student move-in page, and it's going to correspond with your color-coded move-in route. So depending on what hall your student is in, there is a color-coded route. We've got blue, green, orange, whatever applies to them. And those lots are going to be listed in the map of where you're going to be parking. And I'm going to try to drop that in the chat. I feel like I can only send to Heather for some reason. So I'm going to probably send this separately.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right, let's see what other questions we have. What do we do on Thursday after our move-in if it's in the morning? Also, do we have to pay for parking with the app? So great questions. One, no, you do not have to pay for parking unless you park in a spot that specifies it's a paid visitor parking spot. It'll have like a passport sign. Otherwise, on move-in day and family orientation, you can park in any regular parking spot as long as it doesn't say like reserved for the president, for example, or reserved for a person's name or position title. You can park in any regular faculty, staff, day student parking spot without having to pay for parking. There are lots of things happening on move-in day. So if you take a look at the family orientation schedule, that is where you will see what's happening on Thursday. So after you get your student in their room and they're all settled, then you are welcome to explore those activities with your student, or you're welcome to spend time in Williamsburg. That's really up to you and what your student's move-in day experience is going to look like. I often hear that families need to pop out and run to Target, and they need to pick up items that they forgot, or they want to go grocery shopping with their student and get them a few goodies. So those are definitely options. If you leave on move-in day and you come back, just don't come back through Compton Drive, which is that move-in line. Just come back through any of the other primary entrances to campus and plan to park in that move-in day parking destination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Are the parking spots individual numbers or colored lots and open for any spot who has that color associated? So our lots don't have colors, they have names. They don't have numbers. So just like I mentioned, you're going to want to rely on your move-in route to tell you what your destination parking is. And you're welcome to park in any day student, faculty, staff spot, ADA spot in that parking lot, as long as it doesn't say reserved for person's name, reserved for position title, or reserved at all times. Otherwise, you can park in any of those parking lots. All right. Let's look at the other questions. Do you recommend younger siblings attend, or is the content more centered around parents? The content is definitely centered around parents. I always tell everyone to be mindful of the morning is going to be a lot of sitting, and then the afternoon is definitely more active and more moving around. So whatever works best for your family, you probably know your younger sibling best. But the morning we're going to be seated and stationary for about 2 hours in a lecture style presentation. But they are welcome to come. It's up to you. Does their meal plan start during move-in? As you're mentioning this OA dinner, yes, it does. So their meal plan will be active at that time. It will even be active if they want to go to lunch that day. So if you have an early morning move-in spot and you want to say see you later to your student, OAs will be around and they can take students to lunch as well in the dining halls. I downloaded the William & Mary app and can't log in with the credentials I use for family engagement. Is the login for students only, people with WM emails? Yes, that is correct. So families, you do not have to log in and you will not be able to log in to the William & Mary mobile app. That's exclusively for @wm.edu email addresses and login credentials. You won't have to log into the app experience at all. It may prompt you to sign in, but like I showed when I was doing the little tutorial, I don't even sign into the mobile app. Is the parent council welcome reception on Friday open for all or just to those who have committed to the PFC? These are special invitations that I'm referencing. So if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. You can definitely attend that reception if you received an invitation. There are pockets of like scholarships that are getting special lunch invitations. This reception, different groups of families and students have been receiving different invitations for lunch or dinner on move-in day. So I don't know the specifics of all of them, but if you received one of those invitations, that means you are welcome to attend, whether that's a scholarship dinner, the first generation family lunch, the PFC welcome reception, all of those, if you received the invitation, you are welcome to attend. Is there a specific bag policy for Friday? No, there is not. So no specific bag policy for Friday. Let's see here. Is there a particular place on the dashboard we need to place the dash card? No. It can be anywhere as long as it's visible. You can even just like hold it up out the window, but definitely recommend printing that route card so that you have it ahead of time. I also recommend printing your students' move-in QR code ahead of time so you don't have to worry about internet or reception or like have it on a screenshot or print it off. But there is no particular place that you need to have it, just somewhere handy that you can raise it up and an OA can tell you if you're on the right route or not. All right. We're unloading all of our son's stuff on the 16th since he's doing a pre-orientation trip and he will set up his dorm on 8/20 when they return. When we arrive, should we just follow the move-in route and park or just skip the unloading zone? So if your student is doing one of those pre-orientation programs, you will skip the line and the unloading zone entirely, especially if they have already unloaded, and you will just proceed directly from any other entrance to campus to your final destination parking location, and that applies for all of the pre-orientation programs. If you forgot something during move-in and want to drop it off after the see you later, when do you recommend to not interrupt the student's orientation? That will be something that you will have to negotiate with your student and the student's orientation aide, who is kind of the keeper of their schedule. So I'm not quite sure when the best time would be, as I'm not directly involved in the student orientation process. That would just be if you have forgotten something, or if it's an emergency, you need to get them a prescription medication, you will just need to have have your student talk with their OA to determine the best time. And we'll have to rely on what the orientation aide and the student come up with in terms of what the best time might be. So that's definitely kind of a three-way conversation that will need to happen based on what's happening in the schedule at that point in time. Okay. For move-in day, what is the process if we need to unpack items from two different cars? Taylor, you want to take this one?
Yes. So the first car will have to go through the check-in line, and this is the car that your student should be in. Don't enter the check-in line without your students. They need to be there to pick up their key. But then that first car will go through the check-in line, follow their move-in routes. They'll stop at the first unloading zone of their residence hall. You'll unload the items onto the ground, and then you'll move that car to the destination parking lot. That second car can, just like Heather was saying, we're going to bypass the check-in line and we'll enter at a different location. That car can then enter the move-in route, park, unload the items, move the car to its destination parking lot. And then at that point, all your items are there, probably in front of where you were parked, and you can start moving those items back up into the hall. But you don't want two cars in the check-in line. You don't want two cars parked in front of the residence hall at the same time. So it's kind of that process of unloading, move the car, bring the other car through, unload, move to the parking zone.
Thank you. And if you have two cars and the second car doesn't have any items and you don't need to unload the second car, perhaps there are just humans in the second car, that car should proceed directly to the move-in day parking destination from one of the other entrances to campus that is not Compton Drive. So two differences and distinctions for if it's a car with items versus a car without items. Okay. Sorry, I'm late. Don't worry about it. It's the lunch hour. My student is transferring to William & Mary. He will not be on campus commuting. Should we attend the orientation? Is there anything special for transfer students to look into? Great question. So transfer students are going to move through orientation together as a group. So I would say that in itself is special, that they're going to be having that community experience together. And we recommend that all families, even transfer families, attend family orientation. Again, I'm going to cover some really important information about emergency contact information, emergency evacuation plans, how the university engages with families, our expectations, and our expectations of students. And again, this is a new institution, so it's great to get oriented to the specific resources available through William & Mary so you can support your students' experience here. Every university is different language, different places, different resources, and we definitely recommend taking advantage of learning about those resources through family orientation. All right, we have maybe 5 more minutes. So any other questions about move-in, orientation, anything that Taylor and I can help with? Now is the time. We're happy to help in any way. If we have answered all of your questions, wonderful. But you've got us for a few more minutes. For the future, when visiting William & Mary, where can we park? Great question. So if you're parking during like a business day, there are some lots that are specifically for visitor parking. So I'm going to pull that up right now. Let's see. I'm going to actually link the website for visitor parking. And I will share that if you are here on the weekend, after 5 p.m. on Friday and before like midnight on Sunday, you can park anywhere on campus. Parking is open on the weekends. That'll be after 5 p.m. technically on Friday, but this visitor parking website will give you great information about where to park. Is there a specific orientation schedule for transfer students? This is the first I've heard about the transfer students going through orientation together. So this is a really wonderful question about how student orientation works. So new student orientation, they're moving through their experience as either residence hall communities or like identity communities like transfer. And so they will have their own unique schedules that they're moving through together. I'm pretty sure that right now the schedule that's live, and I'm actually going to look in the mobile app to see what they have pushed through already for orientation. It may be that next week is when they populate um, the very specific student schedules, like for transfers and more. So let's see what we got here. Okay, they haven't pushed these specific schedules quite yet, but if you're just curious and want to explore the student orientation schedule, I'm going to drop the link for that in the chat. I'll do another little mobile app demo too, so you can see how I got here. I am in the new student and families persona, and I'm going to click orientation, which is the second button. You'll see it pop up to this screen. If you scroll down, you'll see student schedules. I'm going to click student schedules. Oh, I'm going to click student schedules, and it's showing me nothing at this moment in time because the schedules haven't fully been populated yet. It'll happen next week. But what you want to do to see like your student's specific orientation schedule, once that pops up, there are 3 lines up here in the corner. If you tap those 3 lines, you're going to be able to filter by category. Those categories are all of the different residence halls and different communities that they're moving through together. So if your student is living in Cedar, you would click on Cedar to see Cedar's orientation schedule. If they're a transfer student, click on transfer students and done, and you will see those specific schedules. So just something to keep in mind if you're curious and want to keep up with their schedule next week. All right, if your student is not living on campus, would he get a color-coded parking route or should we park somewhere in particular as a transfer student? I would say, let's see what they have on STEP's website. Your student is going to check in at the Sadler Center, I am pretty sure. Is that right, Taylor?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to want to park in the Zabel lot, the Zabel Stadium lot, which is the lot directly in front of the Sadler Center and next to the football stadium. And we will have a shuttle running from that location, but it is an easy walk over from Zabel to Kaplan Arena. All right. If there are any last minute burning questions, now's the time. But Taylor, any last pieces of advice for families as they think about family orientation?
I think, like we've talked about earlier, think about it beforehand. I know that this is probably something that you will watch a recording of, probably after you've already said see you later to your students. But if you just want to take a few minutes throughout the next couple days and think about what your day will look like, again, it will be so much smoother. Just feeling a little bit, you've been preparing for your students, and now it's time to prepare for yourself as well.
Yep, that's wonderful advice. And if you can't manage it, if getting through move in and see you later is just everything that your brain can handle, we will be on site and ready to help you for family orientation on Friday. Our orientation aides are so excited to work with all of you. I can tell you, being a family orientation aide is one of their favorite things. They are really excited to sign up to support us at family orientation. So if you can't make it to review the schedule and make your detailed plan for Friday, and you just show up with us on Friday, that's wonderful. We're going to be there to guide you every step of the way. We can't wait to see you next week. Can't believe this is our last webinar of the summer.
No.
It feels like the summer has just flown by. So we're so excited to see you at Move In and Orientation. And welcome everybody to William and Mary. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Welcome. Bye.